First, obviously, just saying thanks to Coach Martin for coming out this way. Didn't really have to, but sometimes, within relationships, that's how you find games of that caliber. And especially with the road he got ahead of us as well. So appreciate him coming out. More importantly, I actually appreciate the talk that we had the night before, just in his role as a mentor for me. But tonight, I told our guys I thought this was a very smart performance by us, and I thought we did a great job adjusting a little bit on the fly, defensively and offensively. And I thought, we had some great leadership out there from JJ, Maldo, Nye, and even Mueller on the bench. I thought was tremendously huge. Did our best trying to match their physicality, rebound the basketball, and it was good to see Jake kind of get back to making shots. So happy for our guys in the moment, but at the same time, I told them it's still just one victory. It's not 5. So we still have to have the right mentality when we're coming into practice to continue to get better. And another thing I told them was I appreciated the way we've approached practice, given the start. So I'm happy at the same time, but long season, still got some work to do.
You guys don't have Austin. Brandon fouls out in, I guess, 8 minutes the first half, and JJ and Hunter both have 2 fouls. I mean, how did you guys kind of piece it together against the physicality that they had?
Well, our biggest thing to them was, it was about the fight. And, I showed them a clip of one of our South Carolina opponents that they played. And I saw this kid, he might have been like 5'10", and he was in there just fighting, And my thing to them, that has nothing to do with athleticism. That's all heart at the end of the day. So I was talking to our guys from a physicality standpoint, from a rebounding standpoint, to play with their hearts and not worry about how big they are, but just continue to fight. They still out-rebounded us, but I thought the fight was there. Even with Brandon fouling out in the first half, sacrificial lamb, I guess, at the end of the day. But also playing smart, JJ and Thompson, in a sense of not giving up a cheap foul. At the end of the day, I'd rather them give up 2 rather than a foul. But again, I just thought, I thought they played smart basketball.
Playing smart, Coach, but what was the difference? In the first half, I mean, you're only down 4, but the foul trouble thing, you had turnovers, and you mentioned the rebounding. What was the biggest difference in the second half? And maybe what were some of those adjustments that you made? Were you able to outscore them by 13 and pull away and get there?
Well, I thought when they had the double post in their zone offense, I thought it was kind of giving us some trouble. Our 5 kept coming up way too quickly. I was willing to live with their big shooting that mid-range jump shot. But at halftime, I thought we just adjusted it in a sense of to stop bumping and almost kind of matched a little bit out of it. Our deal was on the 3-man side, we wouldn't bump. On the 4-man side, we would. So we would try to keep the 4-man matched up with one of the bigs and let the other big dive to our 5. And in that process, we were able to stay in some of those gaps to where we got a few deflections and caused turnovers that allowed us to kind of play a little bit. And then offensively, I just thought we were patient. I thought, JJ did what JJ does. And I thought they lost Jake a couple of times, and he made them pay, shooting the basketball.
It seemed like Jake didn't rush it or push it as much this time, that he was in much more control of what he was trying to do. Is that correct?
Well, yes, because we set him down as a staff. When we got back from Evansville, might even talk to him again after Northern Colorado. But our thing to him was he almost has to approach the game like JJ in a different way. Like, how are they playing you? Because regardless of the fact if you've seen us play or not, if you look at the stat sheet, that's the guy that shoots the 3s. So we have to be able to take him out. And our thing to him was that's still a good thing. You're being guarded. So it opens up the floor even a little bit more for JJ, where he has to, or where I thought he did a great job of just being patient with his opportunity, and then when it came, taking advantage of it. Outside of the 2 quick ones with like 4 minutes left, when it was about time and score, I thought he did a great job moving without the basketball, and I thought guys did a great job finding him.
It seems like Taylor is maturing quite a bit.
Yeah,
With
yeah.
Mueller out,
Yeah.
how important is that going to be?
He's, again, I think he's just taking strides. You know, we always joke about this because he didn't really have a good summer. And it was due to probably more so to conditioning. But when we had that break and he went home and came back in shape, so he did something. And even watching him, the one thing we said as a staff is we could put him out there with 4 returning guys and he's not going to hurt you. He can play within that. And he has an ability to score the basketball. He's got to work on the free throws, and he has a really good basketball IQ. The only thing I really yell at him about is just opening his mouth. He's just a quiet kid, you know. And I got on him one time about calling the cutter through, and he's like, I said it. I said, no, you didn't say it loud enough or without any urgency. But I think he has a chance to be really good as well because he's somewhat of a tweener. A guy that can be a skill 4, but at the same time be a 3-man as well.
You've harped a lot on wanting this team to be engaged defensively for 40 minutes. Was that one of your better efforts all day?
I thought so. I thought so. And again, I just love it when they're talking to each other about defense. And I want to say in the second half, you know, because we keep stats of when we stop them 3 times in a row, and we consider those kills. And I just want to say we got 8 of them. So when you put together back-to-back possessions or 8 of, 3 stops in a row, you're giving yourself a chance. So, like we've been harping on them is, guys, our offense is going to be okay. It's going to be okay. We got one of the best players in the league, best players in the country, to be honest with you. Like, we'll find a way to score the basketball. And even with Thompson, like I told him, I know he was only 1 for 5, but the threat of him shooting that opens the floor for JJ as well, even more. So the offense is going to be there. We just got to be better on defense consistently. And like I told them, the number 64, that's a good number for us. When it gets higher and we're talking about 80s, high 70s, that's not a good night for us.
Well, I know it's, there's work and practice to be done, but you've got about 6 days before your next game. Is this, I'm saying it's a bye week, so to speak, but is it nice to have a little bit of time, whether you're in the gym working or giving guys rest or whatever? Is this a good time to have a little time off before your next game?
Well, it's good to win going into 6 days off, to be honest with you. But no, I mean, our high-minute guys, we got to get them some rest. But yet, the guys that are not playing as much, they still got to work out, So there's a process, and sometimes kids don't understand that, and say, why is he resting when I got to work? And I always like to say, hey, I've been there too. When I was playing, Tony Delk, Walter McCarty, who we just played against, they had some rest days. I had to work, so I don't feel sympathy, at the end of the day. Like, we're trying to get better, and that's a process within you getting better. And for the other guys, they need the rest. Now, they'll come in and probably shoot some free throws, probably lift some weights, but, probably less on the floor and mixing it up, even once we start back on the floor with how hard we go versus how hard we will do it without non-contact.
Now, you guys have lost 4 or 5. You lose another body in Austin. You got a Power 5 team coming in here. Just what does this win can it do for morale, do you think?
Well, the one thing I would say, gosh, I don't see no defeat in our guys. When Mueller went down, it was a again type of mentality, but getting Maldo back in a sense of being closer, or the best he's been in a sense of being to 100%. Mentally, that helps JJ out, because I know how much respect he has for Maldo. But it does help our morale at the end of the day. But, I thought our guys came in with the mindset of, we're capable, you know, and like I would always tell our guys, that's how we prepare. You know, no disrespect to the other team, but you know, you still have to play 40 minutes. And quite frankly, you know, I would tell guys, outside of Oregon State, we've been in every game. So it's not like we're getting blown out. You know, we're fighting. And tonight the chips fell a little bit better our way because of making shots, and then JJ being who JJ is.
Do both of those seem to think that the 6 days he'll be where he's supposed to be normal?
Yes.
Do you think, is
Well,
this the type of thing that he can come back normal? Or is
yeah.
it gonna be
Well, you know, he said, I mean, we kept him out, what's the day, Wednesday? We kept him out Tuesday after he had the injection, incision or whatever. And then he went through shoot around, and I asked him, he said, Coach, I'm good. You know, I feel great. Like the steroid, I guess it kicked in. I didn't think he had it from a point standpoint, but man, he was down there battling, you know, those guys, you know, and he's undersized. So his sacrifice today was, well, maybe I don't need to score it as much, but I got to be able to get in here and mix it up with these guys so that we can have a chance at rebounding the basketball. But I think these 6 days definitely will help a guy like him as he continues to go back. But this is the best he's felt since going through those spasms.
Do you have a choice but to try to get Brandon some minutes?
Yeah, well, it was always in the plan to get him out there. It was just, and I know we just lost Mueller, but with this group, it's probably been the most consistent. Like, at least, when I say consistent, I shouldn't say consistent. What I mean by that is you had Thompson, who's now back on the floor. This is his 3rd game back, I think. JJ's been JJ, and now you have Maldo. So those 3 have been complete, so to speak. So even going forward, even before Knott gets back, it's in the plans to get him out there. Now today he just had to kind of get 5. You know, that was just, I mean, I didn't want to put Thompson back out there to get a 3rd going into halftime.